If you've been waiting for the right time to buy a home, you are not going to want to miss this month's market update. Let's face it, for the past couple of years, the housing market has felt stuck. Sellers have been holding tight onto those low mortgage rates that they have, and buyers have been waiting for home prices to fall, waiting for mortgage rates to fall, waiting for something to give. And as a result, sales have slowed to an absolute crawl. But now, for the first time in a long time, it looks as though there are a few signs that we might actually be starting to turn the corner. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to walk you through the latest national data. I'm going to show you what it's telling us with regards to where the market might be heading. And then I'm going to zoom in. We're going to take a look closely at the numbers here in Frisco and Prosper as they tell a little bit of a different story. So with that, let's jump right in. Hi, this is Andrew with the Andrew Smith team here in Frisco, Texas. And as I mentioned, the housing market has felt a little bit frozen, to be honest with you. So what exactly does that mean? Well, you may have noticed, especially if you're a seller, not a whole lot has been selling. As a matter of fact, historically, transaction counts are at a 3-decade low. As a matter of fact, through the first 9 months of 2025, only 2.8% of all U.S. homes have changed hands. That's only 28 out of every 1,000, which is an incredibly low number, especially when we look at this in terms of historical trends. So here's where we're at right now. So 27.7 actually, so 2.8%. But if you go back all the way to 2012, take a look at the differences. I mean, back here in 2021, that was the banner year, the year following COVID. We had 44.4 homes per 1,000 changing hands. So not quite double, but getting there. And then you go all the way back, even back in 2012, it was 33.9. So as a result, that's what I mean when I say it's just kind of been stuck. And you can see we've been in this situation for the past couple of years, and it's been declining. It declined from 23 to 24, and now it's down a little bit in 2025 as well. So why? Why exactly has the market been stuck? And this probably isn't going to come as a surprise to anyone, but number one, affordability challenges. I mean, rising home prices plus rising mortgage rates have made things a whole lot less affordable. So you're in a situation where buyers just kind of stood on the sidelines. They've been hanging out, waiting for something to give. Second, we had the rate lock-in effect. So the reason home prices soared as much as they did is the lack of inventory. So the prices are only a result of supply and demand. So when you have sellers that have mortgage rates of 2.75%, 3.5%, they're not exactly excited about moving if they have to pay 7.25%, where it has been the past few years. So they just decided to hang tight. And then more recently than that, we've got some economic uncertainty out there. What's the role tariffs are going to play? What exactly is the economy doing? You've got the government shutdown. You've just got a lot of unknowns. And let's face it, people in general don't like it when there's a lot of unknowns, when you don't have a good sense about where things are heading overall. But there are some signs out there that, as I mentioned right at the beginning, we may be starting to turn a corner. Some of the leading indicators of activity are suggesting that we're approaching a market that is beginning to thaw and move forward. And the national forecasts are also calling for gradual improvement as well. So let's take a look at home sales to begin with. So this right here is showing home sales, and we're just looking at the last couple of years. So you can see in 2024, we're just about 4.7 million, 4.8 million in 2025, projected as of the pace of sales right now. And this was just updated on November 4th. But here we are in 2026 when they're forecasting 5.2 million. So a fairly considerable jump when looking at where we have been the past couple of years. Now, with that in mind, how about prices? Because I know a lot of the buyers out there are still thinking that prices are going to fall, and they just really haven't. Yes, they have in certain pockets of the country. I'm not going to go into that in this video. I've covered that in the past, so check out some of those past videos if you want to see that. But this is the latest update as of November 4th as well. And you can see here that National Association of Realtors is forecasting a 4% national rise in prices next year. Wells Fargo close behind at 3.5%. I think that goes all the way down to the Mortgage Bankers Association being the only one forecasting prices to decline ever so slightly at 0.3%. So basically flat overall. So with that in mind, let's take a look directly at Frisco and Prosper and see what those trends are showing. What about those trends are showing up in the market here? And here's the interesting thing. I always say that real estate ultimately is local. So no matter what the national trends say, it's really going to vary from city to city, community to community, and neighborhood to neighborhood. And that's really going to show up in this month's numbers. So first off, let's look at sales prices. So the median sales price in Frisco and Prosper. And so the interesting thing right here is, I don't know if you saw the video I did last month, but I have been talking for quite a while now that if you look at it, prices in Frisco and Prosper have basically been treading water. They've basically been holding flat. They haven't had any big declines, any big increases. You are going to get month-to-month fluctuation, but they've basically been holding flat. Now, when you look at those month-over-month numbers, it can be a little bit confusing and it can really kind of change your perspective on it. But when we look overall, so look at Frisco. So here we are in November of 2024 with a median sales price of roughly $700,000. We come here to November or October of 2025, 708. So you can see over the course of a year, we haven't really changed much, less than 1%. Look up here in Prosper, we're at 850 right now. If you go back over a year, you were at 830. So a couple percent change right there. But what I do want to point out on this is right here. This shows up a lot in the Frisco numbers. So if you saw my August and September, or my October and September market updates, you'll know I was talking about the month-over-month price declines, the price declines year over year in a given month. In Frisco, it seemed as though we were edging down. But take a look at what happened here. 10.5% price increase year over year. So it just shows how much volatility there can be in those month-over-month numbers. So for anyone out there that thinks we're about to see a big decline in prices, there is still nothing anywhere in the data or any of the leading indicators to suggest that. When we look at some of the overall sales activity and momentum, if we look at closed sales, so in Frisco, again, that market being kind of frozen, closed sales are down 9.5% year over year. In Prosper, closed sales are down 20.3% year over year, so a much more significant decline. Pending sales year over year are down 3.7%, which again shows improvement, shows that we're getting back closer to where we were on the pace of sales last year. But look at Prosper. Pending sales for the month are down 43% year over year. So overall, what this is telling us is while the Frisco market is definitely showing signs of stabilization, there is generally more softness in the Prosper market. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of new construction activity going on in Prosper, and all of the numbers that I'm sharing, it is only covering single family homes, but it does include new construction and resale. So when, again, I've been featuring a lot of quick move in homes, and those builder deals and discounts that they've been giving, that is what you're seeing reflected in these numbers right here. So look at a couple of just the other key performance metrics that I always like to track. Inventory overall, remember, somewhere between 5 and 6 months is considered a balanced market. So Frisco's edging up. We're at 4.7 months supply, up 23.7% year over year. Prosper's at 5.6 month supply, up 21.7 year over year, percent year over year. The other thing to point out right now is in both markets, days on market has really been creeping up. The average days on market in Frisco right now running at 108 days, on 111 for single family homes in Prosper. A couple things that you're going to see differently here as well. Homes in Frisco showed a bit of an improvement in October. So homes were selling on average for 94.4% of their original list price. That's up month over month. And Prosper, their homes are selling for about 92.9% of original list price, which is holding steady from where it was just a month ago. Now, one metric that I love to watch, and it's available in my monthly market report. So in the description below, if you want to dive deep into any of these numbers or just kind of get an overview of what's happening in your city or zip code, then go ahead and check out the links in the description below. I've got one for Frisco, one for Prosper, where you can get all of this information. But that is the number of listings that are taking a price reduction. So it's the percentage of listings taking price reductions, because let's face it, when the market is stronger, there is no need for a seller to cut their price, assuming that it's been priced correctly in the first place, which is a big assumption, I know. But in Frisco right now, it is 48.8% of listings, so just less than half. That number has been trending down for the past couple of months. Prosper right now, 56% of all listings are taking a price reduction or a price cut before going under contract. That number in Prosper has been trending up for the past couple of months. So that's, again, another sign of an improving market in Frisco and one that's still showing some weakness in Prosper. So overall, the Frisco market is showing strength, and the Prosper market is but it's continuing to show some signs of weakness. Now, if you want to go through what all of this means specifically for you, then I do want to remind you that I offer everyone a free 30-minute consultation. You can go ahead and click the QR code that is up on your screen now and schedule that free 30-minute consultation, or I've also got a link to it in the description below. Now, as I wrap up here, a quick mention with regards to mortgage rates. Now, as you know, mortgage rates have been declining all year. As a matter of fact, if you go back to the beginning of the year, they rose over 7% in February, and as of this recording, they're sitting at about 6.2%. They did bump up slightly, just a couple of tenths of a percent in the last few days, but overall, that is continuing to trend down. And the latest information I am seeing, and from the forecast, is that rates are going to pretty much stick where they are right now for the next year. We may see them drift a little bit closer to 6%, depending upon what happens in the overall broader economy. Any idea that rates are going to get back down to 5 or 5.5% in the next year is not being forecast by any of the main entities that I follow currently. So while the national market data is pointing to a market that's slowly thawing, as you can see that the local market here is definitely mixed. We've got Frisco showing some renewed strength, and we've got Prosper still showing the effects of some sluggishness. So what's the key takeaway? Real estate's local, sometimes hyper local. Again, understanding the differences really plays a key point or a key part if you are considering buying or selling a home. So again, if you'd like to talk through this in more detail with regards to how these market shifts could be affecting your neighborhood, your home's value, or your plans to buy in the months ahead, then I'd love to connect. Again, you can schedule that quick 30-minute free consultation with me by going ahead and scanning this QR code, or a link to that is in the description. And I'd love to walk through your specific situation and help you put a plan together that makes sense for you and your family. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in next month's market update.